necessary that you need to climb Everest to prove yourself. Climbing a mountain is secondary, but first is to climb it from here. You may be a doctor, you may be an engineer, you have your own Everest in life. So achieve them. Considered one of the most dangerous places to be. There are no chances that you will be alive. Long back, a few years ago, there was a big avalanche in the Kombu, and I think around 13 or 14 Sherpas they got caught and died.
आज की ताज़ा खबर। बेंगलुरु में रहने वाले लू और अमेरिका में रहने वाले सिड आपसे कुछ बात करना चाहते हैं। संगीतकार राजेश के साथ आपका स्वागत है लूसिड में।
What's going on, people? I'm Sid, and welcome back to another episode of Lucid. The listeners of this podcast know that I'm a huge trekking fan, and I make it a point to trek a Himalayan range at least once a year. This year, I trekked the mighty Pangarchula peak and got to see some beautiful peaks along the trail. For some reason, this time I felt like I needed to trek the Everest someday. But I have no clue how to do that. So I'm like, let's bring in an expert. I'm super stoked for this episode to be talking to the man, Keval himself, who has summited the Everest and the adjacent peak Lhotse in a record time of 6 days. So, hi Keval, how are you doing today?
Hey, hi Sid, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, bro. How have you been, bro? What have you been up to recently?
Oh, recently I have been resting because after my last
Mm-hmm.
8,000-meter peak, that's Mount Kanchenjunga. So I got
Mm-hmm.
some injury and I had to rehab and recover from that. So
Right.
I was not rushing things because I know I want to go back and climb again. So
Right.
yeah, I was recovering, and yesterday I had a very good hike in the Western Ghats, so it was amazing.
Yeah, no wonder I can see the glow in your face. It's like going back to nature
The
and
mountain magic.
being
It's
one with
called
the
the mountain
nature.
magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, like, tell me your origin story, bro. Like, what was your calling, like, to the mountains? When did this all start?
I would say it started long back. Like, as a kid, I was very much into sports, like an athlete, you can say. And my parents, they saw me in the school days and they are like, we have this summer vacations. And they're like,
Right,
what are you gonna do? How are you gonna utilize them? So as a 90s kid, I said, okay, I would play video games. They were the, trending thing, Mario, Contra, and I would spend some time playing badminton, chess, or, maybe something outdoors like cricket, etc. With my friends. And that's it. That's how I'll spend my 2 months. So they said, okay, can you give us 10 days? I said,
uh,
yeah, sure, why not? But for what? They're like, we would like to send you to a trek in Manali. And it's not a easy trek. It's called Chandrakhani Pass, which is like around 10,500 feet above sea level. And you will have snow, you will have to trek to the forest in the high altitudes and everything. During that time, it was not the internet era, so we did not have much of knowledge. Where are we going? What are we doing? Only the thing is that the agency with which we used to go, they used to give us a things to bring list, and we used to
right,
carry that. And the temperatures here go beyond like 30-35 degrees Celsius. Whereas on comparison to there in Manali, it was gonna be like 5 degrees and 0 degrees. So it has never been
right,
sub-zero where I used to live. And I was in my seventh grade, a 13-year-old, and first time going outdoors. So I said, oh, okay, it was sounding exciting and fun, and I went for it. And when I went, I got mesmerized. You see these huge peaks which are snow covered, and you're so
right,
excited and thrilled to look at them. And the nights, especially, I used to sit outside my tent and look at the stars, gaze them. I could see the Milky Way because there was no pollution, etc. So there was something that happened to me, and I left my soul in the mountain, and I came back. I felt very incomplete. I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? You know, the the feeling that I had there is gone. It's missing now. So then I decided
Right.
every year to enroll for a hike. And year after year, I started going out, and then I found, okay, this is my thing. I have to take this further, no matter what, because it gives me peace, and I want to follow my heart.
Right.
So then I developed a passion. Then I, started reading mountains, started eating mountains, started thinking mountains.
Wow.
Yeah, everything. Like, say, if I have to fix a diet, it was according to the mountains. What would I eat in the mountains so that I get used to and accustomed to that diet? Also, my body gets, used to it. Healthy food and, healthy lifestyle. And I would say that, everything changed and mountaineering became my lifestyle. So it's like a way of living now for me. So yeah, this is how all it began, and then it grew and prospered.
Wow. Before I move further, I have like one question.
Yeah.
Where were you staying when you were in your seventh grade?
So I used to stay in a place called Thane. So
Okay.
it is in the, heart of Mumbai, like near Mumbai, Maharashtra,
Right.
India. Yeah.
Right. So Mumbai is like one of the hottest places. From there, in seventh grade, going to Manali and doing a trek.
Yeah.
Wow, I
Yeah.
can't imagine the temperature difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like the next part is like okay, you every year you went on a hike. You fell in love with the mountains again and again. But then, like after school, like what did you do? Like what did you pursue?
So, as a career, being a teenager, I was very much fascinated by bikes, cars. So, it was always a dream to do
Right.
automobile engineering. So, I passed out my 12th. So, I took,
Okay.
electronics, science, etc. And I got into engineering. But when I was in my
Okay.
third year of engineering, I realized that okay, this is not giving me peace and happiness. I am doing things and I'm really good at it. But what next? After completing engineering, I might pursue a job, but that would not satisfy my
Right.
passion. And my passion had
Mm-hmm.
grew so big that, maybe taking a holiday from work for 15, 20 days would not at all satisfy it. I wanted something,
Right.
like, say, out of 365 days, hiking for 300 days. That would, definitely be my thing. So then I, stopped, like I quit engineering in my third year for my passion. I enrolled in a mountaineering institute in India. I did my courses like basic mountaineering course, advanced mountaineering course, basic skiing course, intermediate skiing course, and finally, after getting a certification from the government of India, I started training and, being practical in the mountains more by climbing small peaks, 6,000 meters, 7,000 meters, etc. So my skills were at the test actually in the mountains. And that is how, I started my professional journey into mountaineering. And recently, I thought, okay, I should do something more. Like, mountaineering is more of a mental sport, and it has given me a lot and healed me a lot in any which ways. So I should, in return do something. So I completed my graduation in psychology and philosophy.
Oh.
And yeah, now I am aiming to maybe, try my hands on sports psychology. I could help other athletes to remove that mental block.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a try. Let's see if, I can do it further.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. But the interesting question is like you did the typical career paths
Yeah.
of engineering.
Yeah.
Like in India, it's either engineering or medical.
Yeah.
So the important question is, how did you convince your parents? I know that your parents were the ones who sent you on your first trek,
Yeah.
but how do you convince your parents to for you to drop out of college and directly start your career in professional mountaineering? Where in India, it's not a huge career path that is generally chosen.
I would say back then, yes, it was really, like a thing because I talk about the 90s, and during that time it was all about career orientation, etc. And me being from a Gujarati family, we have always been into business.
Okay,
So it's like
right.
business is in our blood, and you have to, like follow that. And yeah, I got criticized by many of my, relatives, etc. But I would say my family, my sister, my mom, my dad, they were a strong, supportive force. And they told me that nothing is more important than your personal happiness. If you're not happy, do not do it, because whatever we do, we are living for our own happiness. There is no assurance to life what will happen tomorrow. But what is important is today. And if you live your today, then only you can be happy tomorrow, right? So I think that is what their teaching was to me, and they were always supportive. They said, "You want to do this, go for it, do that. Do you want to do this? Definitely go for it, do that." So they never, stopped me, and they said that your destiny lies in the mountains, so may it be. They accepted it happily, and they, in fact, supported me, pushed me, and they said, whatever help you need from our end, we are ready to give that. So I think that gave me a lot of boost and confidence, and it made things easier. So it was not such a difficult task to convince them, but I think they saw my passion and they saw that the fire that they ignited has now taken a big, big holy place. So I think they went with it, and they definitely respected my decision.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And the second thing I want to know is you told that you did all these courses, the basic mountaineering course, the advanced course, so that you get a certification in mountaineering.
Yeah,
And then you mentioned this important thing that you were trying to summit small peaks, like 6,000-meter peaks.
yeah.
When you say small peaks, I think of like 800-meter peaks, 1,000-meter peaks, and you directly went to 6,000-meter peak. So I want to know like the journey from where you were initially trekking 1,000 2,000 meter peaks, and you went to 6,000-meter peak, and you mentioned that one important thing, right? You were thinking about the mountains, you were reading about the mountains, you were eating about the mountains. So tell us more about that, like that whole journey from like 1,000-meter peak to climbing a 6,000-meter peak.
It was an absolutely beautiful, part of my career, because I learned so much things. I was very raw. I didn't know knew much about the mountains, and slowly I started studying climate, weather, the different types of clouds, the formation. So, in the outdoors, it is like we say the weather changes every second. You cannot predict no matter how good you are. And the best way to see a weather is open your tent, how good it is today and how it's gonna be. So therefore that you need to have good knowledge what type of clouds are forming, how is the pressure, the barometric pressure, etc. So I started reading books on that. As I said, before there was not much about internet. The internet has been developing since the past few years, but before it was very difficult. I'm talking about like 16 years from now. Like, that period was different. And yeah, so whatever details were available to go hiking in the Himalayas, like a 10-day hike or a 6-day hike, I used to do that. And then I used to see what, altitude we are attaining. And then I saw that after 10,000 meters, the tree line vanishes. After that is the grasslands and everything. And after some time, it's all about moraine, glaciers, and, snow and ice. And only three colors were visible. So I thought, okay, what lies more? What is the mystery that I can solve, or I can become like the Sherlock Holmes of the mountains and go ahead. So that
Wow, right,
yeah, it was that curiosity, that excitement. I'll see something new tomorrow. I'll find something new. I'll make a discovery. So in the beginning
right.
stages, you don't know what is gonna be ahead, and I've not talked to much like-minded people that I can understand how it is there. And to frame that in your mind is difficult. What you see visually is something that is really important that convinces you. If you tell me about a name like a ice, I will not understand what is a ice. I will think this is a ice unless and until you
Right,
spell it, right? But when you say a glacier and a ice, and when I actually go there and I see it, I can imagine now, you know. So
right,
that
right,
gives me a
right.
clear picture. So then I started hiking in the Himalayas for a few years, and I did not want to rush. I just wanted to go slow and steady because I wanted to learn. I did not wanted to accomplish anything, but I want to achieve myself. So in that process, I went to various, like in India itself, you have the beautiful Himalayan range. It's a huge range. And in that
Yeah,
range, you have different mountains in Ladakh. Then you have different mountains in Himachal Pradesh, that's Manali region. Then you have different mountains in Rishikesh, Uttarakhand region. Every mountain is, so beautiful and has its own features and characteristics. So I went there, I saw, I learned, then I came back, and then I saw, okay, hiking now is pretty much my game. I am really doing good, and I started working as a guide also. So somewhere or the other, I had
okay,
to support myself earning, because to climb a peak, it's really expensive. So I started saving money and utilize that for my climbing expeditions. And My first 6,000er was Mount Deotibba, and I would say, it came 1 month prior to a failed expedition to Mount Hanuman Tibba. So Mount Hanuman Tibba
Okay.
is approximately 5,932 meters, but it is technically very challenging. And just completed my courses and I went out. I didn't know which weather to go and everything. And I rushed immediately because you know that there is this, oh, now I'm climbing.
Excitement.
Yeah, now I'm a certified mountaineer. Now I'm climbing. But then I realized, and the mountain taught me that experience also matters a lot. You can
Right.
aim
Right.
and think any mountain in your mind to climb. But what is important is to first understand the mountain, be a part of that mountain, and third is to, be to level up yourself to that mountain, not bring that mountain down.
Right.
So then
Right.
I came back home and I was so like not satisfied with myself. And 1 month I was so restless and I didn't know what's going on. I was like, can I climb mountains or not? Why not? Why did not happen? The weather was so bad. It was snowing and we pushed ourselves hard, but still we couldn't climb. So many questions in mind.
Right.
And then I
Right.
said, okay, let's try once more. So after a month, I directly attempted Mount Deotibba, which is like 6,001 meter, and
Right.
I made it to the summit. And that was the phase where I said, okay, now I'm not turning back. I'm not thinking negative. I'm only thinking positive. That failure and success is a part, but the only thing is I was not prepared for that mountain specifically. Now I need to prepare.
Right.
And yeah, so like the very next year I came prepared and I climbed that mountain easily. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I think like after that you climb like multiple
yeah, 6,000 meter
multiple
peaks.
peaks like
Yeah,
Mount Friendship, Mount Lobushe East,
yeah,
Mount Stoke Kangri,
yeah.
Mount Manaslu, all these peaks. So as you said, like I've not trekked as much as you, but I've trekked around like four peaks, like one in Assam, Sandakphu,
Yeah.
the Brahmatal trek, the
Yeah.
Pangarchula peak, and the Chadar trek. And as you said, like every trek is different. Like, what are your some of the fondest memories out of all these treks? Like, where is the place that you saw the most beautiful sunrise, sunset, flora and fauna?
As you mentioned Sandakphu, so I went to Sandakphu in 2018 before the lockdown. 2019 actually, yeah. And
Okay,
during that time, I was, sitting at Sandakphu and right bank front, you see the sleeping Buddha. That is like of Mount
yes,
Kumbhakarna. Then you have the stomach formation of Mount Kanchenjunga and so on. So there is Kabru North, South, Kabru Dome. So many peaks clustered in that. But the best
correct,
part was looking at it. So it appears like a sleeping Buddha, like Buddha is sleeping.
correct,
So when I
yep,
saw that, I was literally moved and such a divine feeling. I saw the sunrise there, I saw the sunset there, I saw the evening, and I posted pictures on my Instagram, and people went insane. They're like, "Oh my God, what destination is this?" And how. And yeah, that is one place I really love. And definitely, in the mountains, every scenario is so beautiful. Every condition has been my best. Like I went to Kashmir, I did Tarshar Marshal Lake trek, and that glacial lake of Tarshar is so beautiful. It reminded me of Switzerland. Like I used to see
wow,
Switzerland in the images, and when I see this, it's
yeah,
almost the same. So
right,
that was one beautiful moment. And when I was doing Stoke Kangri in winters, one of my toughest climbs, I would say. It may be a 6,000-meter non-technical peak, but once I did in winters, the temperatures dropped beyond minus 40 degrees Celsius. The wind was around, 30, 40 degrees Celsius, and everything was frozen. My nose, my face. In fact, I got a
wow,
frostbite on my thumb as well, digging the route.
oh wow,
Yeah, so it took
damn,
us like
okay,
around 1,000 meters from the base camp to the summit and back. So it took us like 22 plus hours in the cold, and we were
right,
dehydrated severely. And yeah, it was a crazy experience, I would say. But then I had more confidence in myself, and then I,
right,
learned one big lesson that what mind can do. You know, I thought I would not survive here and we will not be able to live. We have made a wrong decision and everything. But no, I said the mountains that I love cannot leave me like this. And
Right.
I just told them that, whatever you decide is your final decision because it's not in my hands, it's in your hands. But I just want to tell you
Mm-hmm.
that if I'm alive today, I'll not give up. I'll still climb 10 more mountains tomorrow, no matter what. And then that made me more strong. And then when I came back, I was like, okay, like I have to keep climbing because I made a promise to the mountains. And also, I felt, that they are my best buddies now. I could interact with them
Right.
spiritually, so I think that helped me grow with other mountains as well.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to talk to you about this. This experience of your most difficult trek in Stoke Kangri,
Yeah,
and I was reading it on the papers, and I was shocked. I'm like, first of all, who does Stoke Kangri in the winter? Because generally it's closed.
yeah.
So tell us, like, why do you decide to do Stoke Kangri in the winter? And I saw that you did it with like a couple of your friends. So can you tell us more details about this whole experience?
Yeah, sure. So I climbed Stokangri thrice before. That is in the spring
Okay.
season, in the autumn season. But these were very
Okay.
favorable conditions, and it was like a walkthrough on the top because it's not that technical. It's more about
Right.
endurance. You are doing long distance hikes and everything. And I decided, okay, people were telling me that, you are born and meant to do something different. So that word different came in my mind again and again. And I said, what
Mm-hmm.
can we do to make this mountain not sound so easy? Let's do something
Right.
different on this. So maybe there I
Mm-hmm.
had two options. One was to do a different route, a new route on the mountain, and one was to
Right.
climb it in winters because nobody has climbed ever in winters. So, and that to alpine
Right.
style. So alpinism is one thing that I really love the most. So I said, okay,
So can you tell what is alpinism? Like
alpinism is,
I don't know what it is.
climbing on your own, self-sustained, no guides,
Okay.
no porters, no mules. You have to carry everything. Like suppose tent, sleeping bags, your own climbing gear,
Right.
everything you have to
Oh.
climb on your own, cook on your own, meals and everything. It's not
Right.
organized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
yeah, so I thought, okay, this like it's very good and I should go ahead with this. And then finally, I decided to do it on the 14th of Feb, like go for the summit push and everything. And 2 days of bad weather, still we managed to, leave on the night of the 13th Feb and we submitted on 14th Feb evening around 5:30, 6 o'clock. I remember, the sun setting and it's all cloudy up there and it's snowing a
Right.
bit and I could see K2 in far very faintly. So K2
Right.
is visible from there, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
splendid view. And while coming down, it was evening, so 2 nights on the mountain in such cold weather. And then, with one hand, I was digging the snow because it was snowing and it had snowed like the accumulation of the snow was around 1.5, 2 feet. So I had to dig
Oh
that,
damn.
make a path, and go down.
Okay.
So I was wearing 2 layers of gloves, like mittens and gloves
Right.
both, but still my fingers went cold because we had exhausted our supplies of water in this time, and then
Right.
because of dehydration the frostbite started kicking in and everything. So it was a very
Wow.
crazy
Damn.
experience and I really
Right.
um, have fond memories of it. I remember each and every day, and still when I'm on the mountain I see to it that I never forget this time and I cherish it and I learn
Right.
from it. So I keep on repeating this, and I keep in my mind that what I have to do and what I have to not do. So I think this was
Right. Right.
one of the best clients. Yes.
Wow. I was watching a YouTube video where you're recording
Yeah.
the summit of this,
Yeah.
and your whole face is covered with
I
ice, and
yeah.
I'm like, damn.
I couldn't feel my nose. It became hard. I thought, oh, it's gonna get
Haha.
frostbitten and I'm gonna lose it. But then I
Oh,
immediately
damn.
took a
Okay.
cloth and I started, like with my
Right,
breath, I
right.
warmed it and I start warming my nose and I'm then descending and
Oh,
it was crazy,
shit.
crazy. And yeah, it was literally crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question I have is like, as you said about alpinism, where you carry all your stuff on this trek. So, how heavy do these bags weigh? Like when you do such kind of stuff?
Depends. So what are you carrying? Usually
Mm-hmm.
before the gear that was available was very heavy. Like a tent weighed around three and a
Right.
half to 4 kgs, etc., or maybe 6 kgs.
Mm-hmm.
And the food packets. So we take dehydrated food packets, etc., on the mountain. The protein bars. So it depends on the number
Right.
of days. But I think an ideal alpinist rucksack, can weigh somewhat around 25 to 30 kgs minimum.
Okay.
So that's like, the
Okay.
bare minimum what you carry. It's 25 to 30
Mm-hmm.
kgs. And if it's a technical mountain with more gear, etc. and everything, then it goes beyond. So you have to be
Right.
prepared to carry at least 30 to 40 kgs. Then you can manage with the 25, 30 kg slab.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Understood. So after this experience, you've crossed the 6,000 meter barrier, and then the next part is like the top 14 peaks, the 8,000 meter barrier. I think now everyone knows the top 14 peaks of the hit Netflix documentary
Yeah.
14 Peaks. So I want to know from you, like from 6,000 meter to climbing your first 8,000 meter. What was that like? What was that journey? And what was like the training you had to do? You said the diet matters, the studying matters. So what did you do to climb your first 8,000 meter peak?
Since long, when I did my courses, you are into a environment where everybody is learning mountaineering and you have so many friends with you who are also equally training. And the only question in the mind of the people were Everest. I have to climb Mount Everest. I have to climb Mount Everest. I've been listening that and I was like, okay, we have read in the books that, Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. It's like the top of the world. But I was not so convinced. So I said, okay, let's do some research. I read a book. Then I realized that there are these 14 peaks, and I read about few climbers like Ed Vuestris being one of them. So Ed Vuestris is from USA, and he became
Yeah,
the first climber from USA to summit all these mountains without oxygen. In 2005, he
right.
completed his long journey of climbing all the 14 8,000ers. So yeah, I said okay, it sounds very good and challenging, 14 8,000ers, and in the
Mm-hmm.
mountaineering fraternity or the mountaineering world, it is considered, as a grand slam, and it's like a challenging thing to do for a mountaineer, the topmost thing. So if you have to be a
Correct.
professional and if you have to test your skills and abilities, this is the perfect platform because I did hiking. I know I was comfortable there. Then I did 6,000 as comfortable. Then I was like, okay, what next? So then it comes the
Mm.
last one, that is 8,000-meter peaks. And today I have successfully climbed six 8,000-meter peaks out of the 14.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, so there are only two peaks that are left in Nepal as a climber for me to climb. And those are Kanchenjunga and Makalu that I'll be attempting soon. When I started my
Okay.
journey, I did not aim for Everest directly. That okay, I have to directly go to
Mm-hmm.
Everest. First, I thought of doing some other 8,000-meter peak and just seeing how my body does, which is a bit lower than Everest because Everest is like 8848 meters. So that is like
Yeah.
almost 9,000 meters.
Mm.
And what I did was Manasulu first in 2017. And for that, I used to train like insane from before. I used to do cycling, I used to do running, and I used to train like 6 to 7 hours a day. I used to wake up at 4 in the
Wow.
morning and do
Okay.
meditation for half an hour, 45 minutes. Then I used to do yoga, then I used to do cycling, running, etc. Then some rock climbing, indoor gym, outdoor, etc. And then hiking, obviously, and some ice climbing and everything. So it was a clubbed mixture of all these activities. The aim was
Mm-hmm.
to keep yourself in the outdoors and used to the environment and the nature. Secondly, to develop a body that could sustain the hardship of the mountains. That was the aim.
Right.
So when I did these activities, I realized that okay, if I'm tired cycling 10 kilometers today, then after 2 days, if I do it again, I'll be more comfortable and I can do 12. So that was how I
Right.
started, pushing and made my whole itinerary. And this staircase climbing has been very good. Like in the monsoons, if I couldn't go out, so then I used to climb staircases with weights on my back and on my feet. I used to put anklets of 1 2 kgs and climb staircases
Oh.
like say 500 stairs, 600 stairs up and down. So
Right.
that really helped me a lot. And as I said, that it's all here. And if I think I'm tired and exhausted, and I'll give up. But if I think I have to do this, then it becomes easier. So when I did my first 8,000 in 2017, my Sherpa became sick at Camp 3. and
Okay.
I had to give him a injection like a dexamethasone shot, and I
Okay.
decided to go for the summit. I was climbing without oxygen, so till
Mm-hmm.
the camp 4, 7,450 meters, I did not use oxygen. I slept without oxygen at that altitude. While going for the summit push, also I did not use oxygen. I had carried it as a spare thing, but I did not use oxygen till 7,980 meters. So 20 meters away from the dead zone, that is the 8,000-meter mark. And I was really doing good, but then my Sherpa's health started deteriorating. And then,
Okay.
we had three bottles of oxygen, two for me and one for him. But
Mm-hmm.
already he used one because he was not acclimatized and not well. And then he was
Right.
using the second one and it was half used. And we just had one
Mm-hmm.
bottle. And I said, okay, if I do not, and I was, without oxygen, you go very slow, your pace decreases. And I said,
Right.
okay, if I do not use this now, and if he reaches the summit and turn back, and if his oxygen also finishes up and I fall into trouble, then it will be difficult for both of us. So I calculated
Right.
it then there, and then we decided, okay, we are climbing this mountain with oxygen, we are going faster now, and then, we'll see. So immediately I turned on
Mm-hmm.
oxygen, I put my mask, and we went up, we submitted, we came back to camp 3, and then, that we called off the day, and next day I arranged for some help to get him down, carried some extra weight
Okay.
that he was carrying, and then we reached base camp. So it was again a huge learning, and I was so happy that this did not happen me on Everest, because if it did not happen in on Everest,
Yeah.
I would have not been alive. Later on the next year, I decided, okay, let's climb Mount Shoyu. So in first I
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to climb Everest, but because of the
Right.
frostbite in February, I couldn't climb in March. I had to heal and recover. So in
Right.
2018, I climbed Shoyu, which is the world's sixth highest mountain in Tibet, China.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
when I was climbing that mountain, same thing at the base camp, my Sherpa became sick and I was left alone. Now I was like,
Oh wow.
okay,
Okay.
it's like climbing a mountain that is so big, like 8,000 meters, which I've never been to. And the
Mm-hmm.
ropes were fixed and I have to follow them, so the route was not a problem. But the
Right.
difficulties were like carrying your own tent, carrying your own oxygen, your own food, and then
Mm-hmm.
if you fall into difficulty somewhere, you become sick or something like that, you have to manage and get yourself alive down on your own. So that
Yeah.
gave me chills, and I
Mm-hmm.
literally said, oh freak, we have to do this, come on, we cannot give up
Yeah.
here.
Right.
And I went for it, successfully climbed it without a Sherpa, all by my own, you can say solo. And then next year I
Wow.
said, okay, after getting such good experience, now it's not just that I will do only Everest, not possible. And then I read that no Indian had climbed Everest and Lhotse together. They have been trying, but they were not successful. So I said, why not give
Right.
it a try? So then I
Mm-hmm.
increased my training, endurance, and everything, and then I was able to do that. I could have done it in few hours, but the problem was that after Everest the weather turned bad, so we had to descend down
Okay.
to base camp, so camp 2, and I
Okay.
waited at camp 2
Right.
for 2 days, and then I came back again and climbed Lhotse from camp 2. So yeah,
Wow. Okay.
so
I want to talk more about your.
that was the insane journey of my 8,000ers.
Yeah. Wow. That's really amazing. So, I think you did your first 8,000 meter peak in 2017.
Yeah.
How many more years did it take to do the other six peaks?
So basically, 2017 I climbed Manasulu. 2018 I summited Choyu. Then
Mm-hmm.
2019 I climbed Everest and Lhotse both.
Okay.
2020 I was supposed to climb Annapurna, but because of the
Okay.
COVID, that year,
Mm-hmm.
we did not do anything, like nothing. So there was no
Right.
climbing in
Right.
2020.
Right.
2021, I went back and I climbed Mount Annapurna, which is the world's most dangerous and deadliest mountain, one of them. So I climbed that.
Right.
After that, I attempted Dhaulagiri, but
Mm-hmm.
bad conditions, lots of snow, lots of avalanches, etc. So we all had to turn back. Nobody submitted, and we stopped.
Right.
And this year in 2022, I submitted Dhaulagiri. And so basically, it took me
Okay.
6 years climbing continuously, and excluding 1 year, which we did not climb any mountain. So five
Yeah.
years in total for 8,000.
Wow, that's really amazing. And one small detail you told was in your in your second trek that the ropes were already fixed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So generally, like when I go on treks, there are already guides who know a
Yeah,
path.
yeah,
The route is already
yeah,
set. So for peaks like this where it snows a lot,
yeah.
can you tell me how the routes are actually set? Like who sets these routes and how do they decide which is the route to go?
So basically, what happens is there is a team of Sherpas. Suppose I'm climbing with a team. Now there is no
Hmm.
specific path, only rock and ice everywhere. So,
Right, right.
we decide a phase, like a mountain has different phase. Suppose north, northeast, south, southeast. So first we decide a
Mm-hmm.
route through which we will climb. Okay, and
Hmm.
usually many people they climb to the normal route because it's much safer, and we know that we have a data of that route. Few alpinists
Right,
who want to push their limits, they go for new route
right.
or they set up their own route or go for some route which have not been repeated. So
Right.
on a normal route, the Sherpa who has the more experience, we observe what condition it is, like whether there's an ice wall, whether there's a snow field, whether there's a rocky field. And as per that, there is a team of Sherpas from every different company. They come together, they
Mm-hmm.
go on the mountain, they set up camps, and they know the place where you have to set up a camp. So they
Okay.
navigate and trailblaze and everything, and then they set up the camp, and then the others, we follow the routes. The ropes are fixed. So we follow those ropes,
Wow.
etc. So depends on Dholagiri this year till Camp 2 we did not need require ropes to be fixed, so we navigated only the crevasses which we had to negotiate in between where we put a small piece of rope and then
Right.
continued further. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's really interesting. Nice.
On Everest,
And
there is
now,
a on
right.
Everest there is a different thing. So above base camp on the south side, that is from Nepal, till
Right.
Camp 1 there is a very treacherous and a dangerous stretch which is called the Kombu Ice Fall. It's a moving
Okay.
ice fall, and there is a specialized team known as the Ice Fall Doctor. So a Sherpa whose job is only
Okay.
to open the route till Camp 2. So after that,
Hmm.
the other agencies or the companies they open the route. But till Camp 2, it
Right.
is the duty of the icefall doctors to navigate and break a proper trail. And this has been a tradition since years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
And are these Sherpas like appointed by the government or they're just like very experienced and they know how to do this?
no, so basically, if I am to climb, I will hire an agency, a local Nepali agency. I'll climb with them, and the
Right.
Sherpas work for that agency as a guide. So
Okay.
the agencies select what Sherpas. If I know many people now, so I know who climbs faster, who climbs at my speed, or who climbs like me. We are alike in climbing. So then I can tell,
Right.
okay, I need Pemba Sherpa with me, and I can take base camp
Mm-hmm.
services from other company, but I can take Pemba Sherpa or Mingma Sherpa with me as a Sherpa. So I can decide my own
Okay.
Sherpa now. Yeah,
Got it. Got it. Awesome. And I think about this, the moving lake which you spoke about. I was seeing one of your reels, and you mentioned that you can only pass this during the night, and you
yeah.
can't go through this during in the morning.
Yeah, I mean you can, but see, in the daytime it's very unstable because of the heat, the ice
Correct.
melts. And here it's
Yeah.
like the ice towers are around 80 to 100 feet, sometimes beyond. And if they crack and
Oh,
collapse on you, there are no chances that you will be alive. Long back, a
right.
few years ago, there was a big avalanche in the Kumbu, and I think around 13 or 14 Sherpas they got caught and they got died in that avalanche.
Oh, damn.
It was a
Okay.
very big disaster, and then all the Sherpas,
Right.
in respect, they called off that season, and nobody climbed Everest, and everybody turned back. So
Okay.
yeah,
Damn.
it's one of the most danger. It's considered one of the most dangerous places to be, and to
Right.
take open a safe path or a passage. It is the duty of an expert who has been there every year after year. So that is why that
Right.
team is specific and dedicated to that.
Oh, okay. Got it. Damn cool.
Yeah,
So we've already started speaking about Mount Everest, and this is the part I'm very excited about. I want to know in detail as to what was your journey in like climbing Mount Everest. I know that you climbed a couple of 8,000-meter peaks, and then you told that you started training much more. So what was that training like? And also I know that climbing the Mount Everest costs a lot. There's a lot of sponsorship
yeah.
involved. So can you tell us about this whole journey?
So as I said, I prefer lots of endurance training. because I know that
Mm-hmm.
day after day, year after year, the mountain keeps on changing. And also, not just the mountain, but what happens is, your skills, you have to upgrade them. So, as I said, I did lots of rock climbing because, to climb vertical, you have to train vertical. I started trail running. I am located a place where there is a
Right.
hill nearby, which is not that big, but it has a very beautiful trail, an uphill trail. So I
Okay.
started running there, carrying weight and
Okay.
load, etc. And then I started doing
Okay.
some ice climbing. I started hiking in the Himalayas, doing 6,000-meter peaks as a pre-climb for those peaks. So that helped me prepare with my techniques.
Wow.
And
Right. Right.
sponsorship is something which I still find in difficult with over the years, because even
Mm-hmm.
after proving again and again, I got a national award for adventure in India for my
Yeah.
achievements and all my climbs, but still it is difficult to convince the sponsors because, adventure is something which is not so popular. I would say it is not such a popular sport in
Mm-hmm.
India. And here it's about competition, whereas adventure sports is more of an individual achievement and representing your country, but in a
Right.
different way. Here you show your
Right.
ethics, you show your how your country looks like, or you give a mini presentation to people. But then it's not about winning medals or anything. So then the attention of the sponsors to this sport is really difficult, and especially when you have to bear so much pain. Some sponsors think, okay, so painful and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I, send him there to die? So yeah,
Yeah.
that is also a mindset.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I got for Manasulu, I got rejected by around 182 sponsors, and yeah,
Oh.
the
Okay.
complete year I went door to door. I, went to approach companies, and I would sit in some corporate firm for 1 week. I used to go every day morning, sit there till the
Mm-hmm.
evening, come back home. Go sit, wait. There was no response and it got denied.
Right.
In fact, on Manaslu, till 1 day prior, I had no sponsors and I did not book my tickets. But suddenly, I think, that you say the call of the mountains. So it was the call of the mountains where I
Mm-hmm.
realized that, 1 day prior, I got a call from a sponsor and they're like, we will sponsor you like 50% of what you need. Are you willing? I said,
Okay.
okay, I'll
Okay.
manage. And I had some
Right.
savings and I'll put across that and everything. So then finally it happened. And slowly, as I started climbing, some more sponsors, some more brands started, getting involved. And now
Right.
today, I think it's more than approaching the brands. It is about influential marketing more on social media, like on Instagram, etc. So I'm trying to make a
Right.
platform where I can earn my living from that, from posting content and making content for the
Right.
companies, and it could support my climbing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, it was really
Right.
difficult after the lockdown and everything. So, not much people are doing well as people are talking that we are supposed to hit a recession soon and everything. So, conditions are really, economically going
Right.
backwards. So this year I did a crowdfunding, and yeah, it really worked and it helped me gather funds, etc. and all. But it's a never-ending process, Like climbing, to get sponsors,
Yeah.
you have to constantly be
Yeah.
out and do so many things. So I think I'm still trying to figure out,
Right.
and I'm trying my best to do whatever possible and get this
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like getting rejected by like 182 companies for sponsorship, but still trying and moving forward shows like the passion you have for the mountains. And I want to talk more about like your whole experience, like the start of your trekking experience at Mount Everest. Before that, how many days does it generally take for, say, like an amateur trekker to do the Mount Everest? I can't say amateur, but like say, I don't know how to
A
phrase
beginner.
this, but
Yeah,
like a skilled trekker.
so basically,
Yep.
it depends. I would say, going easy is the best way around. So maybe take a spare days of like 40, 45 days, and that is just for the climbing I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about. The training, you can do it like endlessly, but start 1 year prior to train yourself. At least climb two
Okay.
6,000 meter plus peaks before, so that you get used to it, your body gets
Mm-hmm.
experienced. If possible, one 6,000 meter and one 7,000 meter. So that will give you more of
Uh-huh.
your body knowledge to you, how your body responds, how your body is, what it should be done, and
Right.
how you can sustain the cold or
Right.
not, whether you can, sustain the altitude or not, etc. And yeah, climbing Everest, just hiking to the base camp. So Everest majorly is climbed through two routes. These are the two main routes that people take. One route is from the north side, that is from Tibet, and one is from south, that is from Nepal. So from the north, the conditions are different, the ice fall, etc. So you can drive till the base camp. So it's completely different in the north. But from the
Okay.
south, you have to hike. So the last village is Lukla. You fly to Lukla, you start hiking till then, and it's a very beautiful gradual trek till the base camp. It takes around 8 to 9 days. You reach base
Right.
camp and acclimatize well, and you can go nearby and uh, like have a good session where you can get your body with the environment and acclimatize really great over there. You can go to Kalapathar, you can go to
Right.
Gorakshep, etc. After that begins the actual
Okay.
climb. So few days of rest and then you start climbing. So you establish camps like camp 1, camp 2, camp 3. So you do multiple rotations. For me, it's like I follow the basic principle of acclimatization, that is climb high, sleep low. So if I'm going to camp 1,
Right.
then I will not sleep at camp 1. I'll touch camp 1, I'll come back to base camp and sleep. So now my body is acclimatized to camp 1.
Okay.
Then next time I'll go
Right.
to camp 1, I'll sleep there. Then I'll go to camp 2, touch camp 2 and come back and sleep to camp 1.
Right.
So that is a
Okay.
process.
Got
So
it.
maybe doing multiple rotation helps, like two or three rotations should be enough. And then directly you go for the summit push.
Got it. Got it. So you took a 45-day trek, which maybe like if I do Mount Everest in a couple of years, I might have to
Yeah,
take 45 days and did it in six
yeah,
days, right? And that too Everest and Mount Lhotse. And you said like 2 days there
yeah,
were harsh conditions,
yeah.
so you could not climb anywhere. So can you take us like the day-to-day things, what and all you did? Like day one, this is what you did. Day
Sure.
two,
So
this is what you did.
basically, as I said, before I also organized treks and I lead them. So before, I did a batch of Everest
Right.
Base Camp. I came back to Kathmandu, rest for
Mm-hmm.
3 days, and with my team again, I flew to Lukla and we
Right.
started hiking again. So yeah, so
Okay.
almost it took us 8 days to reach base camp. After reaching, we took one day of
Mm.
rest. We, just decided to acclimatize and adjust. I had already been there, so I was well acclimatized. After that, there is a
Right.
peak called Lobuche East, which is around 6,100 meters, just nearby that. So we went there, we climbed that peak, we came back. So it took us 3 more days to do that. And next few
Okay.
days, on that mountain, the weather keeps on changing. Sometimes it's good weather, sometimes it's bad weather. So we had to settle there for waiting for the weather window. Then we went up to the mountain. So,
Right.
one day I went up the Kombu Ice Fall and I went till Camp 1 and came back to base camp. After that, I went to Camp 1, I stayed one night there. I went to Camp 2 and I came back to Camp 1 and then I descended back. So that was my second rotation. In my third rotation, I directly went to Camp 2. Then next day, I went to
Mm-hmm.
Camp 3, lower, a bit lower than the Camp 3. That's the Lhotse phase. I almost like, yeah, I was
Right.
around, somewhat around, say, 6,800 meters something, nearly 7, and then turned back and then I came back to camp 2 one more night there and then came to base camp. So now my body was acclimatized. I did not have any headache or nausea or anything. So now I was good to go for the
Right.
summit push. So we waited when we get 3-4 days
Right.
of good weather window and then we can go and summit. And yeah, finally
Mm-hmm.
we got this window that okay, 16th is going to be quite ideal, but the ropes were not fixed. The road team had not gone ahead, so many people decided not to go. But I said my team that okay, we will go ahead and we will go for the summit push with the fixing team, like right back. There was a risk that if
Wow.
the rope fixing doesn't happen and the fixing team cannot fix, then there are chances that you'll have to turn back again and go up again. It's lots of
Right.
energy and everything
Right.
and food usage and everything. But I said, okay, fine. The weather is good and I think they will make it and as will we. So then we gathered for the summit push. So we left from base camp. We went to directly to camp 2. Stayed 2 nights. I stayed one more
Okay.
night at camp 2 so that, body is prepared because you have to go a lot higher. The next day from camp 2 to camp 3, camp 3 to camp 4. Now camp 4 is the South Col and it's very deadly place because it's a coal and the wind starts blowing from both the sides, and yeah, it's like
Okay.
the wind has a good passage, and the winds are very fierce, like say 60 to 80 kilometers per hour, sometimes 100 kilometers per hour. So we stayed a few hours
Right.
at there, and then on the night around 10:30, 11ish, I started summit push for Everest. Morning 9 o'clock, I summited Mount Everest and I descended down to Camp 4. During that time, I saw somebody struggling, and there was one guy who was just lying dead there, half dead. I went and I saw that he's not,
Oh,
able to breathe, and he was just lying there, and his oxygen was quite low. So I gave him, a
right.
pumping in the chest, and then I increased his oxygen. So not exactly CPR, but somewhat like that. And then he spoke that
Mm-hmm.
he submitted Everest, but he does not have water. He's not able to eat, and his Sherpas have gone a bit ahead, and he's exhausted. So I helped him. I gave him my sneakers. I gave him my hot water. I carried him on my shoulder till a stretch, and after that, I got Sherpa help and some oxygen and got him down, and we
Right.
evacuated him from there because the helicopters they cannot rescue from this. You have to get
Wow.
him down. So yeah, and then it was too late.
Right.
So I stayed back at Camp 4, and I spent one night at South Pole, that is the dead zone. And next day, I was happy to
Mm-hmm.
hear that we could help him and save him and evacuate him safely from there. Yeah,
That's
so it
great.
was really
Wow.
good that you could save a life.
Mm.
Now, the other aim was to climb Lhotse immediately, but because of the harsh weather conditions, it was not possible. So I descended all the way to Camp 2, and Camp 2 is around 6,400
Okay.
meters, very comfortable, like base camp, etc. So then we, 2 days of snowfall, the weather, I sat there, ate, energized myself and everything. And then I got a news that 21, 22 seems to be a good weather, ideal weather for summit. So on the
Okay.
21st of May, I immediately left from Camp 2 morning and directly went to Camp 4. Skipped Camp 3, directly went to Camp 4. And that night, I left for the summit. So within 24 hours, I submitted Lhotse. So it's like morning, I left 5 o'clock from Camp 2. And next day morning, around 6, 6:30, I was at the summit of Lhotse. And then evening
Wow.
6:30, I
Okay.
descended all the way to Camp 1. And yeah, it
Damn.
was really
Wow.
quick.
Okay.
And the next day, I descended from there to base camp. And at base camp, you have a network. You get Wi-Fi because they have established
Right.
Everest link there. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody, the whole world, I mean, came to know that I submitted Everest Lhotse, and it has been a successful summit and got good wishes and everything. And many
Right.
people, they were flying from base camp to Kathmandu directly, but I decided to enjoy this moment, and I hiked from there to Namche Bazaar, that is 42 kilometers approximately, in one day. I descended all the way till there,
Wow.
and then, yeah, I reached Namche Bazaar. I had a good dinner there, good sleep after 9 hours of hiking, after climbing Everest and Lhotse.
Right.
And the next day we reached Kathmandu. I mean, we went to Lukla. We took a helicopter and we went to Kathmandu. So that is when the journey really ended, when I was safe and sound back in the city.
Wow, damn. I think the last 42 kilometers which you trekked or hiked down from the base camp to the nearby village, I think with the happiness you had, you wouldn't have even felt that 42
Oh, yes,
kilometers.
exactly. Oh, me and my Sherpa, and we were both of us. Everybody had gone back home. Like some climbers had flew to Kathmandu who were climbing with me in my same team. But you know,
Right.
when I was descending, I was not thinking about anything or how I climbed or what I climbed, etc. Only thing I was thinking of, what next, what can be done next, what to climb
Mm.
next, and that was the
Right.
only thing in my
Right.
mind. And yeah, I mean, Everest Base Camp is a trail that is so beautiful. I This year also I had a group. I guided them to Everest Base Camp. Also in September I'm having a group. I'll be guiding them to base camp. So now it's become a ritual.
Wow.
You have to go to Everest Base Camp because it's such a beautiful place, and
Right.
you have tea houses, so the stay is comfortable, and you are walking beside a river, and you can hear that voice of the river. It's like more than detox. It's such an amazing feeling to experience this. so many
Right.
peaks, Ama Dablam, then you have, you see Lupse, you see Lhotse, then you see Cholatse, then Lobuche East, Lobuche West, then there's Tangtir Khan. I can just go on and on
Right.
and on, hundreds of peaks there, and that view is so
Right.
mesmerizing. So I think, if you are an adventure enthusiast, definitely once in a lifetime you should visit Everest Base Camp. It is one of the most beautiful treks.
Yeah, I think that's my
Yeah, yeah,
goal.
yeah,
The goal is to climb Everest. Let's see what happens. And yeah, as you mentioned, like once you climbed Everest and Lhotse in 6 days, the government of India, gave you the Tenzing Norgay
yeah.
National Award, and I think that must have been a proud moment for you.
I really felt very good. And, over the years, I was being on my own. I was, running here and there for sponsorships, for training and everything. And
Right.
when you accomplish your goals, and when, you have like this backup, or the government, acknowledging you, it gives you more confidence and more motivation to work harder, to even push your limits more.
Right.
And more than that, your parents, like my family who has been so supportive, they felt okay, the support was really worth, because now it's like, put into
Right.
words in golden letters, and it's there, and it's gonna stay throughout the lifetime. And they are like so
Right.
happy that, tomorrow they can give up an example. The people who were criticizing, they can tell, no, it was not at all that, it was completely good.
Bad
Yeah.
decision.
So when people now
Yeah.
congratulate them, I feel happy for them, that they have really made a wise decision,
Right.
and they let me live my dream, and let me do it for my country. Because that feeling, even after getting the award, I cannot tell you the feeling what it feels when I take that Indian flag out on the top, and when I represent my country, and when I am, in my mind singing the national anthem, and I feel no less proud than like a soldier who is at the borders. Definitely, they are doing a great job, and they are
Right.
working hard and everything, but I'm doing my bit through my field or my expertise. So I'm doing whatever possible,
Correct.
and when I do that, I really feel
Right.
good. And yeah, I mean, that is what you are alive for, to have that best feeling and to be
Correct.
happy. That gives me
Yeah.
happiness, and for me, it's the best feeling that I have.
Correct. As you said, like, being at the summit and, showing off the Indian flag is like a mini presentation to the world that the capabilities of what Indians
Yeah,
can do. So, yeah, like, I congratulate a lot on that
thank
achievement
you.
for you. Yeah, and you mentioned one more interesting fact that while you were descending down, you were like in your mind, "What's next?" Right? And what's next was Project
Yeah,
Tri Summit that you
yeah.
wanted to do this year. So can you tell us a bit about what Project Tri Summit
Also,
is?
in 2019, I climbed Everest and Lhotse. So I already climbed two 8,000. So now it was like, climbing
Right,
three 8,000, whether this is possible or not, and whether I could do it or not. So in 2020,
three at the
yeah.
same time.
So in the same season, like spring is the season. So
Right.
in 2021, I was doing Project Try Summit. So the part of the summit was to climb Mount Annapurna 1, Mount Dholagiri, and Mount Makalu. But what happened was, COVID was still around, and we climbed Mount Annapurna 1, and then I moved on to Mount Dholagiri. But at Dholagiri, the weather conditions were not good, lots of snow, and also COVID hit. Almost out of the 82 somewhat climbers, 60 were positive. And at high altitudes,
Oh,
having
damn.
COVID is something very dangerous. So we did not want to risk. And there was an outbreak of COVID at Everest Base Camp also, and other mountains also. So we decided, okay, I did not want to risk much, and I came back, and then we stopped Project Rise Summits in that year. This year, again, I decided to do Project Try Summits, and we climbed Dholagiri in the first phase. Secondly, I went to Mount Kanchenjunga, but 100 meters below the summit, the weather
Okay.
turned bad, and I had to turn back.
Oh,
But I got frostbitten on my right feet thumb, and to treat that, I had to come back. So again, this year I couldn't achieve that, but I'll keep trying. So next year the aim is to climb Kanchenjunga for sure, and Makalu, which is the mountain left, and I'm working hard to get sponsorships from now on. And like, if I get good sponsorships, it means that you get good logistics, you get good equipments, And also along with
Right.
that, I am trying to do something, like a variation on the route or something like that. So still on the developing phase
Right.
yet. So hopefully we will be able to do it next year, staying positive and, working hard on it.
Yeah. Definitely. I am for sure know that you're gonna do it next year. so, so yeah, we've spoken a lot about the mountains. We can keep going on and on about the mountains, but I want to get to know more about you and your career, right? So, what are like the main difficulties you as a professional face, a mountaineering professional face in your career and in your personal life by choosing this path?
A lot, because as I said, most of the time I spend in the mountains now. So while I'm doing that, I
Yeah.
get very less family time, and I see my family very less.
Right.
And this year I will be getting married, so I need to divide and give equal importance to my partner as well. So your family life is
Right.
affected a lot. But since they are supportive and they, give me good support, so it's like manageable. Apart from that, also finances, because this all is very
Mm.
expensive. So living, like, earning a living
Right.
and sponsoring yourself also makes a lot of difference. So I started my own trekking company called Beyond Altitudes, where I hike with people and I
Okay.
train them. I, teach them. Also, I train them on 6,000
Right.
meters, 7,000 meters, make them climb and achieve their goals, but in a sustainable way, not
Mm-hmm.
hurting nature much, and like doing some good
Mm-hmm.
deeds, like maybe doing a cleanup camping in the nature, etc., and everything. So different types of
Right.
things that I teach. Like, basically, it's like an outdoor education, you know, for people. Yeah.
Okay.
I get.
Right.
Is it good?
Yeah.
You'll have to
That's good.
edit this. Yeah. And
Yeah.
after starting my own startup, like, then I decided what else can I do. So trekking equipment is really expensive for young trekkers going out. They spend so much money on the hike itself, the logistics and everything. And after that, you have to spend like more money on the down jacket if you're going to a cold place, the good trekking shoes, etc. And in India, it's very expensive. So I opened a store called Climb On Adventure Store, where I provided these equipments
Okay.
to them on rental basis, on hire, and so they don't have to invest in this. And it's like if you're going for just one hike in a year, it is not worth spending so much of amount, and then it goes all waste and vain. So I
Right.
started providing them that, and yeah, these are my two ventures. And now I wish to train people and make them climb Mount Everest and all the 8,000-meter peaks. So I've started training a few and guiding them, making diet plans for them, making training schedules for them, what they should do, and etc. And yeah, soon I will be guiding on Mount Everest also. So I'll be, people who are aspiring and want to climb with me, I'll be personally going with them and guiding and making sure that they are comfortable and in good health. So yeah, that is how
Right.
I maintain a living and sustain.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I think like at least for like the general career path, say like an engineer or a doctor, there's like a set standard, do this, this is the next step, this
Yeah.
is the next step. For people like you have to create your own path.
Yes.
Like as you said, now you're gonna become like a mountain
Yeah.
influencer. Like people are gonna know you on Instagram and other social media as the guy who's gonna show us the views of the mountains. So yeah, it's at least from my perspective, it feels very inspiring and
Yeah, I mean,
exciting.
my whole point was there are so many people who want to go outdoors and who want to go and see these mountains, but they
Yeah,
cannot. Either they cannot afford, like manage sponsorships, or either they cannot, cope up with the training or maybe the leaves, etc. for so many days.
correct.
So if they
True.
cannot go there, why not bring it? What are the views to them? Obviously, I cannot create what the naked eye sees or that thing what is exactly
Correct.
there. But I'm trying my best to at least show them, and maybe this could motivate them. Okay, now if I've seen this, let's go there and see it. Like really, really go there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that is my
Right.
thing, that bring more people to the nature, make them connected. What nature has been like a driving force to me and my career. Maybe out of the hundreds of people that I make or guide them, at least even 1% is benefited. Then that will be like a worth for me.
Right.
So trying my best and yeah, doing
Definitely.
whatever I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I feel like you're doing an amazing work. So yeah, please keep doing that. And as you said, like a lot of people in the recent years have started,
Yeah,
going on
yeah,
Himalayan peaks. Like for
yeah,
example, me itself, like I started doing the
yeah,
Himalayan ranges in 2018,
yeah,
2019, and there's been a lot of demand. Like a lot of people are trying to do the Everest base camp,
yeah,
Annapurna base camp, and as I said, a lot of
yeah,
people are training. But I feel like the current system, it can't cope up with the amount of people that are applying for the
yeah.
mountaineering course, the basic mountaineering course. Because recently I was checking, I wanted to enroll into a mountaineering course, and the wait list was for like 1 year. Like I could get a slot for the
So
next year
now,
itself.
something that I'm working on this also. So next year, I'm collaborating with these institutes, and I will be
Right,
organizing a private course, like a basic mountaineering course, privately, but with this institute. So a
right,
private batch. So I will get a
right,
batch of 20 to 22 participants, and they don't have
mm-hmm,
to wait. They just have to enroll with me, and we will be organizing
right,
this with collaboration from the institute. So institutes are
okay,
already they because see what happens is they have a certain protocol that they have to follow, and they have to limit the courses,
right,
but the amount of people who are applying for the courses has really gone high. So now I'm
correct,
doing a private course for them. So with this, the load on the institute also reduces. They can hire extra people, instructors for this, and also the people
mm-hmm,
do not need to wait, and they will get admission, and they will get a good course thing structure. So yeah, this is for next year. So I think I'll
right,
be able to, get 20, 25 people, and I will be able to help
mm-hmm.
them, gain and take a step close to their dream.
Right, that's great. Yeah. And like as you said, like we need more
Yeah.
instructors like you so that you can train people. And I know the mountaineering fraternity is a very close knit and a very tightly knit community. So, do you think there's like a recent increase in the number of people who are trying to climb Mount Everest, like from whatever you've heard and seen in
Yeah,
media?
definitely. There are huge numbers now. Before it was only, adventure enthusiasts who used to climb, but nowadays it's like everybody. See, definitely, why not? It's the highest point on the world, and
Yeah,
the reasons
right,
may be different. Like some people climb it for name, fame. Some people climb it for a personal achievement. Some people climb it for
right.
passion. Some people climb it because it's just there. It's a mountain, and why not? So
Hmm.
many reasons differ, but the I would say the awareness has become so much that everybody wants to prove themselves and do something or the other. So
Correct.
some people
Right,
choose another field, some people choose Everest. So I mean there is nothing bad in
right.
that. Definitely you should climb. Why not? But my point is that you should climb
Hmm.
responsibly, without hurting the
Right.
environment much. Like
Yeah.
get all your waste. When I was climbing Mount Everest, I did not leave a single waste on the mountain. In fact, all our empty butane canisters,
Right.
I personally brought it down. And along with that, I around got 25 kgs
Right.
of waste down the mountain with my gear and everything.
Right.
So, there is tons and tons of waste of years of expeditions and everything, and there's left so many things. So the government is also trying, and many agencies are trying to, do the cleanup camps and bring it down. But still, it will take time. But our goal should be
Right.
not to add up to that pile. Already the pile is so much. So we are
Correct.
trying to cut it down and
Yeah.
bring it down. But from our end, at least whatever we are taking on the mountain, just bring it back. So I tell people that, if you are going for a hike or expedition or anything, the only thing that you should leave behind is your footpath. So, your traces of
Right.
your feet should be left on the mountain. That's it. Nothing else apart from that. Whatever you carry, bring it back so that it will not affect the people also, and it should not affect the nature also.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, definitely. Because from the recent news that I've seen is Himachal Pradesh, the government of Himachal Pradesh banned all the treks, that no other trekker can't like do the treks without their permission. And basically, you have like lesser peaks to climb in
Yeah.
India right now, and I feel a little sad about it. But I hope the government opens up all these peaks. And the next question is a very personal and deep question. Now, I want to climb the Mount Everest. Uh, how do you think I should plan this?
As I said, go slow and steady. Understand your body. If you do
Right.
that, you don't need any help.
Mm-hmm.
So train hard, be disciplined with the
Mm-hmm.
training part. Include, yoga. Yoga is a very
Right.
good way to increase your lung capacity and your, oxygen levels, etc. Then after that, you can, start with endurance training. Say staircase climbing is one of the. Then you can do running, cycling. At least make sure in a week 4 days you dedicate at least 2 hours to enduring activities like that. Okay. One day maybe you do
Okay.
indoor rock climbing. You have if you have a climbing gym nearby, and someday you do running, someday you do
Mm-hmm.
cycling. So not it is not necessary that you do every day because your body also needs to
Right.
recover because you're breaking down muscle with such
Correct.
activities and extreme adventures. And if your body does not recover, then it is very
Right.
difficult. So, good
Mm-hmm.
recovery is important, good rest is important. If you're having a
Right.
sore muscle, do not push yourself
Right.
because that could lead to injury. So if you're having a sore muscle, relax, rest, let
Right.
it heal and recover, and then go for it. So plan things
Right.
in
Got it.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, absolutely. Once you have done that, go to 6,000 meter peak in India, in Nepal, anywhere. Put your skills to test. And once you do that, you will understand. If you can do a 6,000 meter peak comfortably, then jump to 7,000 meters. Most of the 7,000 meter peaks are
Right.
in India and Nepal. May it be Barun Se,
Mm-hmm.
Nun, Kun, then we have many other peaks like Kamet, etc. So go for some of those peaks, see how your body reacts to 7,000 meters. If you are really comfortable, okay, that now you'll automatically understand. If you're getting too much exhausted, that means you need to work hard.
Correct.
If you're doing it comfortably and
Yeah.
without injuring yourself and without having any bad days on the mountain, then definitely you can push yourself and go for Everest. So I think that will be a very good procedure to enjoy the mountain.
Right. Wow, yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for this. I'm gonna put it into action and see where
sure.
this takes me. So, I want to end this podcast with two
Yeah.
last questions. What do you think is going to be the future of Keval, and what are like the top three principles that the mountains have taught you?
Future I cannot predict, but definitely it's gonna be more and more mountains to climb, and I'm not stopping anywhere, anytime. And yeah, I mean, I look for a future in the mountains. I look for things like, where I help people also. It's like before, as an athlete, I was
Right.
looking at this graph, that where I am going up. But now I want
Mm-hmm.
to take people along, so this graph should be like parallel to that, and do that
Right.
sustainably and help nature and help people, etc. And secondly, the second question that you asked, I mean, about, uh, I would say, you know, it's a tricky question though, but
Mm-hmm.
in the near future, like this point is really important with terms to like a social thing, or I would say global warming is the term.
Right.
And now I'm doing in the Sayadris, like lots of tourists and lots of people, they come and they litter and they throw waste. So I want to get associated
Right.
somewhere in this field where I am able to remove that waste and help nature heal,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
act somewhere to reduce global warming. I mean, definitely it's not going to go away, or it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to stop, but I personally want
Yeah.
to take this up as a cause for myself, and give my best to reduce waste, bring volunteers, bring people involved in this, and not help, like um, stop the littering, basically just spread a campaign and do that. Yeah.
Right. Correct. Got it. Got it. That's amazing. And what are the learnings from the
The
mountains
three
to end
learnings,
this
as I said,
podcast?
to respect the nature and help save the nature. So that's the first learning.
Mm-hmm.
The second learning is to be disciplined. Like, if you are disciplined, you can
Right.
achieve anything. And the third learning that I would say is the major one is to stay positive. A positive
Right.
approach makes a lot of difference. I would say um, climbing a mountain is secondary, but first is to climb it from here. So from the base, if I've decided that I've already
Right.
climbed that mountain and I've been there, things make more easier. So the first, as I would put it, that to save environment and to be a part of that to help environment, not get destroyed. And the second is discipline, and the third, as I said, positive approach.
That's amazing, Kevin. I think this is the perfect way to end the podcast. Thank you so much, Kevin, for this amazing, amazing
Thank you so much for
conversation.
having me here. It was really a pleasure to, express my views and get connected to the audience that, will be listening to this. And I tell them that, stay
Yes,
fit, stay healthy, stay happy, do whatever you want. It's not necessary that, you need to climb Everest to, prove yourself. You may be a doctor,
true.
you may be an engineer, you have your own Everest in life. So achieve them and
Correct.
yeah, be happy and keep on exploring new things. So nature is definitely the best that can heal you. So if you are
Yep.
going there, if you respect it, it will definitely give good fruits to you. So yeah, sure, like connect with the nature, have a good lifestyle, and that's what you need.
Thank you so much. Yes. So that's it, folks, for today. I'm Sid, and this is Lucid.